what do you see the top qualities as? Like, is it just the grit? Is it the mental capacity, like the mental strength they have? What do you see like most consistent in all these like top producers or top people in this company?
I think the most consistent thing is this this business really isn't taught. The business is caught within you.
Mm.
You plug into the system and you catch our culture. Our culture is by far the best in the world, man. I have never had so many friends in my life. I mean, I've got thousands and thousands of friends. I can travel in an airplane anywhere in this country, jump out of that airplane, land somewhere, and I bet you I'm not more than 5 miles from a good friend that would come pick me up. That's culture, and that all comes from the stuff that Casey and Brandon do, and they put in place with all the thrives and all the different programs they put in. It's the culture, because people leave sales jobs all the time, but they don't leave your friends.
Guy's a very dear friend of mine. Got to sit on an airplane next to a Symmetry celebrity. If you sound out work ethic, it spells out Marshall. So I got the man, myth, the legend, Marshall Wayland himself, man. Thank you so much for being on here and pouring into me on a plane ride. How you doing today?
I am doing spectacular, my friend. I really appreciate you having me on your broadcast here today. I'm looking forward to it.
No, this is awesome, man. I think if everyone viewed Symmetry the way you do, we'd have a lot more 120s running around.
Oh, they're coming. I think
Oh,
we're gonna
I
have a
won't miss that.
boatload.
How many directs do you have now?
I've got 11 120s on my team.
Woo,
So,
dang, man. And how many agents do you have? I think it was like 800 something or
yeah, somewhere around there on a monthly basis, 800, 900. They keep growing. Yeah, that's the one thing. Once you start doing this, you really can't stop the momentum. It
it
just
goes
keeps
from
growing and growing.
addition to multiplication pretty quick.
Yeah, yeah, sure does,
So,
buddy.
Marshall, how long have you been with Symmetry now?
May will be 10 years, so just 9.5 years.
And what did you do before coming to Symmetry? I know you worked as a mortgage broker. Kind of explain how that came to end and how you found Symmetry.
Yeah, Mason, I spent 20 years as a mortgage broker, owned my own business. I thought I was doing pretty well, in DC, living in DC, and kind of making a middle income um environment type thing for me. And it paid the bills, but it wasn't really wasn't my fulfilled something to fulfill myself. It was just something to go make money. And then whenever 2008 came, it kind of crushed the mortgage industry, and I had several offices in DC that I had to close down. Unfortunately, I couldn't get out of leases, so I had leases to pay for several years, and basically went broke. I didn't have to file bankruptcy or anything like that, but I sure didn't have much money to live on, and actually ended up having to borrow some money from student loans of my kids and stuff like that. So wasn't a very fun time in my life, that's for sure.
I don't doubt that. And how did you find Symmetry? Like, who brought you into this business, or how'd you find it?
I this is going to tell you how old I am. I read a newspaper ad said leads for 100,000 plus first year, and I jumped on it.
That's awesome, man.
As young as you are, you probably never read a newspaper, have you?
Only the school newspapers. That's about it, man. Right when I was kind of growing up, the first iPhone was invented, and then the whole world came to an end. So now it's just technology. So just because I haven't been here as long, what kind of transformations have you seen through the company? You've pretty much been here since the beginning or close to it. What have you kind of seen in the revolution here?
Oh my gosh, it's I wish I'd be starting now instead of back when I did. It sure was a lot it was a lot different. This company was quite small. I guess I came 2 years into the company, and it was really we were pretty much just a East Coast company, not even Northeast really. We were pretty much from Maryland down, maybe a few people in Philadelphia. down to Florida, and that was about it. We had a couple agents in Texas, a couple agents up in I believe Wisconsin area, but other than that, that was all we had, and nobody knew of us. So recruiting was always an adventure because nobody knew who we were, nobody knew what our culture was like, and it was very very difficult times. I remember traveling all over the country doing business opportunity meetings, and a lot of times there was only 3 or 4 people in the room, and the funny thing was I wasn't very good at doing those meetings. So halfway through, a lot of people would get up and leave. So when one person leaves in a 3-person room, it's
Gotcha.
pretty noticeable.
Yeah. And how long did it take you? Because you were that was back then when it was agency managers, correct?
hmm
Different kind of hierarchy stuff and raise or compensation structures. How long did it take you from being brand new to kind of owning your own agency here?
Back then, I think it was close to a year and a half, 2 years. It took a while. I wasn't the best salesperson. I've never been that great of a salesperson. I was more into building and so forth, and it just took time to build. It always takes time to build, especially when you're building with an unknown company at the time. Now our company's pretty much a household name, getting to be, and will be shortly. And it's a little bit easier now to recruit than it was back then.
Oh, now you have the shoulders of Marshall Wayland to stand on behind all your recruiting stuff. I'd say the building turned out pretty well for you, dude. Like that blows my mind to see like average people doing extraordinary things. So I'm so glad that this happened for you, man. It's a beautiful thing to see. In all honesty, I'll be up there for too long.
Well, I appreciate you calling me at least average because in high school and college I wasn't the average. I guess I was below average, but I got about 2.4 in college. So
Like an
that
underdog, I
yeah.
love an underdog story. I think we all do.
Yeah, there you go, buddy. Hey, that just goes to prove in this business, as long as you put the work in, success will follow. And if you have a belief system like no one else, like I had no other choice at age 50, starting out a new business, totally broke, and at that point, I had no other choice but to succeed. And it was, there was a lot of 50, 60, 70-hour work weeks in there. And, I really think that still, even today, needs to be done the first year or two. You really you're building something for yourself. You're building a legacy for yourself, Mason. And I don't think you can just build a legacy for yourself working 30, 40 hours a week. I think you got to come in, put your head down for a couple years, and then look up and see who's with you and who's behind you. And that's kind of what I did. And after 2 years, there was a whole bunch of people behind me. It was amazing.
It's the Wayland cult. Yep. Why do you think people will work 70, 80 hours a week at a factory for someone who doesn't care about them, but they won't work 70, 80 hours a week for themselves? Why do you think people get stuck?
Well, it kind of blows my mind, but I think they get this false sense of security that having a job is security, and it's understandable. We were educated to go out and get good grades, get a good job, never make a mistake, be afraid to make a mistake, and that's not real business. A business, you go out and you try to get a mistake, try to make mistakes, because that's how you learn in this business. And the faster you make about 1,000 mistakes, the faster you become a millionaire at this company.
Fair enough. I think the worst piece of advice I've ever gotten is be realistic.
That's if I was realistic, there is no way I'd be where I'm at today. There's no
No,
way.
I'd
I
rather
just
be assumptuous and positive.
exactly, man. Life is good, brother.
And so what really helped you the most through your journey here? Was it just having people like obviously it's a different environment back then. You probably had a lot more access to people like Brandon and Casey, Brian, and all them to pour into you. Like, what really helped you kind of see the vision here and really trust the process and the system like you hear every day on the calls?
That was it. I did have a lot of chance to hang out with Brandon and Casey, and they just showed me what good people they were.
Mm.
And that made me have the belief that, what, they're gonna have my backside taken care of. And they've done nothing but for 10 years show that and prove that that they're here for the agents. They're here for everyone. And it was nice having their mentorship, but bottom line is you got to go out and do it yourself. And you gotta find a few friends to come along with you. And that's all I did. I just kept trying to find friends that had the same belief system that I had and had the same gumption to get up and work. This is work at first. Right now I don't work so hard, but back then it's work. I mean, that's just fact. You just got to put the time in and do the numbers. And the numbers aren't gonna go away. The numbers be the numbers, and you can't beat the numbers.
No,
So I know, it's funny. I know how many mailers they send out. I know how much is going to come back next week. It's just crazy because it's just a law of large numbers. I know by how many dials you make, Mason. I know how many people you're going to talk to, how many people you're going to set an appointment with, and how many people you're going to sell. And it just matters on how much work you're putting in. And as long as you're not offending anybody and you're doing the right thing, even when no one's looking, the numbers are going to be the same every time. They're gonna be very successful for you as long as you're putting in the numbers and doing the work.
consistency, everything here. You've obviously hired a lot of people. How many interviews have you ran?
Oh my gosh, you're into
Thousands.
the six figure maybe. I don't know. Or definitely there's 10, 20, 30,000 probably. It's just
And what do you see as the top indicators of you're bringing the right person in? Out of all those interviews, what have you got for a judgment system pretty much?
I wish I could find that. There is no judgment system. It's you don't know what's inside somebody's heart when you hire them. The only thing I know I can do is watch their feet. If they're doing the first step that I tell them to do, and then they come back for the second step and they prove that they know what that first step is, I know I got movement. And that's when the feet are moving because they're doing what I'm asking. And I'm simply asking them to follow this system step by step. And that's the beautiful thing, Mason. You know it. This system is a step by step system.
Turnkey.
You just got to put the step. Yes, sir, buddy. Yeah, yeah.
So your
And
philosophy is pretty much just bring as many people in, and the right people will stick, wrong people will fall off.
yeah, well, I don't bring everybody in. I
Yeah,
mean,
not
they got to
everybody.
obviously, yeah, they've obviously got to have some, they have to be pretty much within our culture, no legal issues, no felonies or anything like that, because the carriers check them out pretty thoroughly. And there's no sense in giving somebody false hope if you pretty much know it's not going to be a good fit. But yeah, I like to give everybody a chance because, you never know when a plumber's assistant will answer one of your ads and you just think because a plumber's assistant he does what the plumber doesn't want to do. It's got to be a pretty bad job, right?
Oh yeah.
So why should I hire a guy like that? Well, I wish I would have hired a guy by the name of Casey Watkins, that's for sure, because that's what he was when he started. And so that's why I don't prejudge people. I just love people and decide, if they want to follow me and follow the system, I'll be there for them. I'm their partner. I'm not their boss. I'm their partner. And I always look at things like a marriage. I'm gonna give my 100%, and as long as you give me 100%, we stay married. But Mason, the first time you start cheating on me, we're you're out, man. We get divorced like that, and there's no paperwork.
Yeah, no prenups, no prenups involved.
That's right. That's right.
And so you pretty much just hire based on culture, not skill. If you think someone aligns with our core values, anyone deserves a chance as long as they're kind of following that belief system.
I really do, buddy. I think anybody can do this system. I mean, if I can climb to the top of this company, I promise you anybody else can because I've just been a goofball all my life and just enjoying life. But I've always had good karma and always try to do what's right. What's right.
Hmm.
And as long as my friends that I bring in this organization are more concerned about other people than themselves, then I know they're going to be a very, very successful ride here.
I love that. And I love our core values. It took me a long time to understand what really giving back to other people and being generous meant until I met people like you and Kishan. Like there are people with I mean, I've seen your bonus checks and they're six figures every month on the leaderboards. Like that, there are good people here that just give away money. Like I saw Keyshawn doing like hundreds of thousands of dollars for that little NASCAR stuff. You taking people on Cabo trips. What is your favorite thing that you've seen kind of like the company do, like corporate, like Brandon and Casey kind of do for the community? What are some of the things that you've seen that you're just like, I'm in the right place?
Well, that's it comes from the head down. Those guys are really big into that Make a Wish Foundation,
Mm,
and I just love it, man. I tell you, we've been on so many Make a Wish events. It's literally I walk away from a lot of those events in tears because these kids just want to dream. They want one little vacation, or they want to go someplace, or they want to do something. They want to throw a ball out at a professional game. That makes dreams for these kids that are a lot of them are, obviously have very dire consequences with their health. And I tell you, that Make a Wish Foundation, it just melts your heart. And I just love donating to that company. And I do it every month. And I'm just so honored and proud that Symmetry gives me that chance to give away money. I think I give away more donations now to those companies than I made in the mortgage business in a year. So it's a crazy concept, to give back to the community because again, I believe in karma, man. What goes around comes around, and as long as you're treating people right, that's where I want to be, treating
well,
people
I
the
can
right way.
definitely see you putting good fortune out, and I can definitely see that's what's obviously coming back into your life by all those koi fish out there. What how strong, like how powerful is it just finding the one right person or just sharing this opportunity with like a Miranda Martin in the world? How impactful was that for your business?
That is the beautiful thing. Anybody at this company is just one recruit away from extreme success here. It doesn't mean that you recruit one person and then you quit. But I'm just saying, you find one person that's going to be your running buddy, a buddy that you trust, a person that you're going to fight for, and he's going to fight for you or she's going to fight for you. That's what life's about. And there's nothing better to see their success down the road. I look at Jacob Pogue. He was a bartender when he came to Symmetry, and now to see I know for sure he makes over $1 million a year, and to see his family grow and the excitement that he brings to this company. He just built his his dream swimming pool at his house, and believe me, it's a dream, boy. I tell you, it's not like my little pool, boy. It's like a professional pool, and to see his smile, to know that he's not only being successful for himself, but also other charities. Every year at Christmas, I see him pull up a U-Haul to Walmart and buy every toy that he can find at Walmart, and he goes back to churches and gives those toys away. You got people like Ryan Miller that never owned a house before he came to Symmetry, and now he lives out there in Phoenix in a pretty good size mansion. So it's that's the best part about this business is seeing your buddies who fought with you through the trenches, because the first couple of years here you're scratching and clawing for everything, but you're learning through that time. I wouldn't give his years back for anything, because what I learned in those two years of hard work was the most important thing in my life. And it's the type of thing where some people see it as a grind to go through the grind, and by golly, we all have a grind, whether you're working for an employer, or whether you're working for the government, or you're working for yourself. It's going to be a grind a little bit. I don't like to sugarcoat things. Get in that grind and love the grind, because the biggest thing I loved about my grind was making mistakes. I would laugh at myself, and I just think that I've made more mistakes than almost anybody at Symmetry. So maybe that's why our organization's got so big. You kind of learn from those mistakes sometimes.
Oh, I don't doubt it. You don't want to make the same one twice. It starts hurting a little bit, falling in the same hole, getting bit by the same snake. What do you kind of see like in the top people and maybe even your hierarchy or just across Symmetry? What do you see the top qualities as? Like, is it just the grit? Is it the mental capacity, like the mental strength they have? what do you see like most consistent in all these like top producers or top people in his company?
I think the most consistent thing is this this business really isn't taught. The business is caught within you.
Mm.
You plug into the system and you catch our culture. Our culture is by far the best in the world, man. I have never had so many friends in my life. I mean, I've got thousands and thousands of friends. I can travel in an airplane anywhere in this country, jump out of that airplane, land somewhere, and I bet you I'm not more than 5 miles from a good friend that would come pick me up. That's culture, and that all comes from the stuff that Casey and Brandon do, and they put in place with all the thrives and all the different programs they put in. It's the culture, because people leave sales jobs all the time, but they don't leave your friends. I've got friends in this business now for almost 10 years. And, I look at the Rob Puckett's of the world. These guys have built gigantic organizations, the Larry Griffins of the world. These guys started with me fairly new in this business. And, they're going on their 9th year too, and 10th year also. And these guys wouldn't leave me. We're best friends. So people don't leave friends. They don't leave relationships. That's why one of our core values is, relationships matter. People come first. That's what the stickitude is. That's why Symmetry has grown so much. It's not about products and leads and commissions. It's about what you're going to do for your person that you're bringing up. Because I make more money by bringing people up to my level. So I want to do that. I want to bring as many people up to the 120s as possible. Yes, it's a little selfish for me, but I don't
Also,
think
what
it's
you're
so
doing in other
selfish.
people's lives.
Yeah, when I see the lives being changed and seeing what they do with their money, because all my agents, they're mostly into deferred gratification.
Mhm.
And it's because I've told them that for years. Do not spend your money. Your money will come in droves, but for right now, just pay your bills and invest in your business. Especially right now, you should be investing in your business, because there is some crazy things coming up here at Symmetry that I'm just telling each and every one of y'all, go out and find your running mate, because that'll be the smartest move you'll ever make in your life. It's right now. Get it done.
What do you think the best thing that someone can invest in? Is that recruiting? Is that themselves? Is that their people below? What do you think the best thing they need to focus on putting their temporary income that they earn from producing into for that deferred gratification?
Pretty much all of the above, what you just said there. You look at what you're doing. I've always looked at what I did is I only made profits and money when I was going out protecting families and recruiting new people into my business. So there's only two things that I think that you're profitable at. Everything else in this business is kind of minutia. You know what I mean? You're calling underwriters. You're on hold for a half an hour to get to an underwriter. You're checking your pending, stuff like that. And the way I look at that, that's a good $10, $15 an hour job, right? But as an agent, when you're out producing and you're out recruiting, I think every agent that's doing that right now makes $100 an hour. So when I hear some of my agents come up and say, "Well, I'm doing my off hours, I'm doing my laundry, and I'm calling underwriters, I'm doing all this," and I'm sitting there thinking, "Well, okay, do you realize how much money you're losing at that?"
Mm.
And they're like, "I don't understand that." And it's, well, if you're checking pending, if you're waiting for an underwriter, you're on hold, you're doing $15 an hour job, but you should be doing $100 an hour job, right? Because that's keeping you from $100 an hour job.
Yep.
So what's 100 minus 15? That's
85.
$85, right? That's like taking out 420s and a $5 bill and burning it every time that you're doing the laundry. You go to do the laundry, Mason, I want you to go burn $85. I want to see how many more times you go do
I
that
was
laundry.
doing that until we had our talk in combo. I heard an assistant that next day.
Yep, I know you did. And that's why you are where you're at, because as I said earlier, when you tell somebody to do something and they do it, you're moving your feet. That's why you're becoming so successful, Mason. That's why you're becoming one of the top agents here, and you're eventually going to be one of the top builders here. And the fun thing about this system is that you can make more money than your upline and me. You can make more money than me. Probably Jacob Pogue and Ryan Miller are probably going to be making more money than me very shortly because they have a great structure. I've kind of slacked off in the last few years, so I haven't hired that many direct agents. So I've only had 5 direct agents plus a base shop. So you know, it's not difficult, but I may have thousands of people to interview to find five of the good ones. And it's just a matter of going through that and don't take it personal. People are not coming to work for you for a reason. And when you grow and you learn and you find out that people come first, people will start coming to you all the time, and you'll have the best people in the world on your team.
No, I remember you telling me if this assistant doesn't work out in 6 months, tell me and I'll reimburse you for all the expenses. I was like I'm going to prove this guy wrong. I'm going to get his money. So, how
Did you
important?
send me a bill?
No, because it worked.
How much money did you make by not doing that minimal work?
Well,
The
in 9
minutia.
months, I wrote 206,000 and issued almost 80% of it on an average of 80%. This is my first year clearing like 6 figures, so it was very profitable, I'll say, and it was a huge hats off to you. So, Marshall, you'll never know what you've done in my life. I'll be eternally grateful, man. You are one of my favorite people. I thank God every day for him in that Cabo trip. Trust me. What kind of
That's the
book?
power of that's the power of association.
Oh yeah.
That's one of the things that people don't realize, that when they come here, the value of association. If you can get around 120s or even agency owners, if you're a new agent coming in, get around the fire. Talk to your agency owners, talk to your people that are really growing. Talk to the 120s, because that knowledge that they have will set you free. Just like, the 10 minutes I had with you hanging out at the pool talking about having an assistant. That 10 minutes
Worth
with
$1 million.
that next day, it's made you, thousands and thousands of dollars. And it's just because you didn't think of it that way. See, that's why it's important to be with a group that knows how to win. And that's what Symmetry is all about.
No, 100%. There's a lot of very good people in here. Your network is your net worth. It's all who you know. Just just 2 last questions. What kind of books? How important are books to you?
Oh, by far, that's it's the smallest thing I've ever done to make the biggest impact in my business. When I came here, I actually told Casey, I said, buddy, um, I haven't read a book since college, and I wasn't very good at reading books then. I said, I can't understand it. After I read the first page, I have no idea when I start the second page what the first page was all about. And what he just simply told me, he says, well, Marshall, just read a paragraph, put the book down, and understand 2 things: what you learned from that paragraph and how you can help your team from that
Mm.
paragraph. And I started journaling at that point, and I started writing that stuff down. And now I've learned how to comprehend when I read. And so that's the
Good.
smallest thing that made such a big impact. Now I can read the whole chapter. I can read page 3 and 4, and I understand what page 1 was. Because I learned how to read, and then I was always journaling on that stuff. And good Lord, about 2-3 years after I got in this business, I had a stack of journals underneath my desk. The yellow, those yellow legal pads. That
Fill up
was my
that gold
journals.
pond back there.
Yeah. And one day I had a big snowstorm there at my river house up in Virginia, and we couldn't get out of my road for about a week, and there was no electric there. So I got bored. There was nothing to do, nothing on TV. I couldn't turn the TV on. All I had to do was keep the fire running. And I ended up looking around. I saw my journals underneath my desk. I said, well, I'll start reading those things. I'm bored. So I'll be darned, Mason. When I started reading those journals from day one up
Mm.
to the 4 or 5 years, it was like, yeah, I was predicting my future here at Symmetry.
Wow.
And literally these things that I'd written down happened over and over again. And that's, to me, reading is by far the smartest thing anybody can do. Just read and understand what you've learned and know how to apply it. If you can figure that out, man, the world is your pearl, man. The world's your oyster. You can go do anything in the world you want to do.
I love it, man. Learn something new from you every time I talk to you. Just one last thing. I mean, what new agent coming in looking at Symmetry? What do they need to be focused on to kind of get where you're at right now?
hmm Well, obviously there's a lot of things, but I think I just said that. Protecting families and recruiting. You can recruit right off the bat here. Matter of fact, that's one of the best times you can recruit because, when I started recruiting, I would just tell them to go to Casey and Brandon because I didn't know anything about this
That's
business.
all. Pass it on, delegate.
And nowadays, boy, I tell you what, with our new systems coming up, our back office, our training system, yeah, a new person has no reason not to go out and recruit today. I mean, call all your friends. Talk to your upline about helping you talk to your friends about this business because you don't have, you don't have to train anybody. I've never trained anybody. All I did was show them where to go to get the information. And now it's all in one spot. It's like, boom, there it is. Casey and Brandon spent millions of dollars to put this system together. And this is better than any college education you will ever have is in our back office.
Oh man, people are going to start dropping out.
Oh, a lot
No,
of people drop out.
from what I've heard, yeah. No, Marshall, dude, thank you so much for doing this for me, man. This means a lot to me. I can't wait to come up there and see those koi for myself, man. Whenever you feel like invite me to that new house of yours.
Buddy, you're always invited. Love you, man. All
Hey,
right.
love you too, man. It's so hard for me to fathom as just a 24-year-old kid who's never ran his own business or anything like that, that you can have such good-hearted people all in the same place. Like this isn't a corporate environment. Like it is just nothing but love and fun and grit. Like, thank you so much for everything you've done for me and the people you can't even see you've impacted. Because I promise you've made more of a difference than anybody in my life has.
Good, good. Thank you, Mason. I appreciate you, man. And I got my radar on you, buddy. I'm watching you all the time. I'm watching your numbers. All right.
Well, I'll keep adding these trophies up for you, man. Hey, thank you so much for being on here with me. I know you got to head out, so I'll talk to you soon. Okay, buddy?
Thanks a lot, partner.
See you,
Bye
man.
now.